Mike, welcome to a Pint of Wisdom podcast. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yeah, as you know, this podcast is sponsored by OnePint.ai, an inventory planning and forecasting platform. And I know you use our platform as well. So thank you for doing that as well.
Yes, it's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Mike, I was thinking that, you have spent a lot of time in supply chain over the years. Wanted to call out some insights around what you do with supply chain, AI, brands, etc. in our conversation. So it would be a freewheeling conversation. Hopefully, this conversation helps, emerging brands or brands who are looking to scale. So why don't you talk about yourself? What has been the journey like over the years? What are you up to these days?
Yeah, so I got my start in supply chain in the warehousing business over 30 years ago, and the first problem I was asked to solve was I was actually a technician, electrician, and
Mm-hmm.
I was recruited by a CFO to help solve a problem on inventory shrinkage and inventory accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say over the course of the last 30 years, that's the majority of what we do is solve problems, implement better processes and systems to make sure we deliver consistent outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Through that time, warehouse management moved into procurement. I originally was with a construction company,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then I spent the majority of the better part of my young career at the original equipment manufacturer for Ditch Witch equipment, uh, buyer, purchasing manager, into business development. Um, had the opportunity to interact with a lot of systems, ERPs. Um, did a short stint with audio innovation, Rockford Fosgate based company. So
Mm-hmm.
I've had implementations of Oracle and SAP. Um, and then during COVID, I was working with a boat manufacturer,
Mm-hmm.
and everything kind of went crazy.
Sure.
And my phone was ringing with people wanting help from a supply chain perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The world finally started to understand what supply chain is, and we decided to start our own company. And so
Mm-hmm.
we've had our own company now for a little over 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we provide supply chain management, fractional supply chain management services for companies of all types.
Perfect, perfect, awesome. A variety of experiences. I'm pretty sure you have seen all shapes and sizes. Since you talked about COVID, um, and I know you work with a lot of young brands who are looking to figure out the nuances of supply chain. How have you seen things evolve? Because I'm pretty sure COVID happened. We had supply chain uncertainties for a long time, long delays, etc. Last year and continuing this year, we had tariffs. How have you seen brands evolve and respond to these uncertainties?
Yeah, it's been a lot of change since COVID. COVID really
Mm-hmm.
fired off significant changes. People always have risks. They don't always know they're there until something breaks, and then they
Right?
identify them and try to fix them. Um, I would say that for a lot of direct to consumer e-com companies, they start out with one or two products in a single manufacturer, and they try to expand beyond that. And sometimes they rely solely on it, and they don't really assess their risks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think COVID pointed out having some redundancies where you can
Mm-hmm.
help mitigate some risks. I think a lot of people probably learned that from COVID, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably the biggest change that I've seen. Even people that can't afford to dual source or multi source
Mm-hmm.
are taking on other approaches to mitigate the risk where they are in a single source or a sole source environment, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's the only company that can provide them what they're getting, or maybe it's the only company they've chosen to tool it up with, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that's probably the biggest change I've seen since COVID. Um,
So essentially, essentially diversification and creating more
yes,
redundancies in the ecosystem. Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't say the risks
Hmm.
are anything new, other than they're more pronounced. They were all there
Yeah.
before COVID. COVID
Mm-hmm.
just brought them all to the surface, and
Yeah.
a lot of people started sourcing strategies I call ABC,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden it was anything but China with the tariffs.
Sure.
Um, and really, then the whole world kind of went on a global tariff rise, and
Right.
so even anything but China wasn't really helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tariffs have really impacted a lot over the last few years. I see people trying to on source, domestically where they can.
Right.
There's a lot of production capabilities that we still don't have a lot of capacity. So if you're working in a uh, low volume, high mix kind of environment, which a lot
Mm-hmm.
of direct newer companies, startup companies,
Mm-hmm.
they are, it gets harder to find domestic sources that will produce for you affordably at lead times you can manage. And so I still see people trying to mitigate those risks, really talking about them more than ever before,
Mm-hmm.
but trying to find ways to mitigate those risks with inventory
Mm-hmm.
buffers, with
Mm-hmm.
international warehouses in addition to their domestic warehouses, all sorts of
Right.
things.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And as the companies respond to some of these challenges, have you seen good examples as well as bad examples in terms of, what does good look like, from SNOP perspective, forecasting and
Yeah.
supply planning and cash flow management?
Yeah.
Any examples come to your mind?
We've seen, with direct to consumer and e-com companies, it's oftentimes a challenge when they're just growing and scaling.
Mm-hmm.
They may start out with a PO and a budget, but they don't know how their product's going to be received. They don't know how the marketing messages are working. They're churning ads, trying to find a winner,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it hits, they want to throw the gas at it and sell, but oftentimes their pipeline's not full.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get out too far in front of their skis, then there's the propensity to oversell your inventory position, and that leads to
Mm-hmm.
customer satisfaction issues, all kinds of problems. And so um, I think most companies that I've worked with identified that at somewhere in the journey, or we helped them identify it. And um, purchase order planning that used to be, we're going to need some more, go order them,
Mm-hmm.
becomes, what are we going to sell? What do we think we're going to sell? How
Mm-hmm.
do we put a plan together, from an S&OP standpoint? What do we think's going to happen? And then reconciling that with feedback loops. Well, that didn't happen. Why? How do we learn from it?
Mm-hmm.
And overall, if you have a plan driving your business,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean you're going to execute to the plan. It just means
True.
you're going to have a plan, you're going to reconcile it, and you're going to modify it. And if you do that perpetually and you do it regularly and you do it with some cadence,
Mm,
your business will be a lot better off for it. You'll have more feedback loops for continuous improvement. It'll help hold most of your organization together, whether that's marketing and sales or whether that's
mm,
procurement, buying, whatever they're buying, whatever your inventories positions are. Without it, you can
mm-hmm,
become segmented and siloed,
mm-hmm,
especially if you're smaller and you don't yet have an ERP system that's connecting everything. Um,
mm-hmm.
and even
Right.
on our bigger clients,
Mm-hmm,
B2B, we have bigger clients that work through traditional.
mm-hmm.
I can tell you that oftentimes
Yeah.
where they set reorder points for replenishment or reorder, sometimes
Mm,
they're arbitrary. They're not based off of a good formula that the
mm,
business understands and buys into and that can be changed.
mm-hmm.
And so even for big businesses, It's
Mm.
extremely important to have a plan and to be able to pivot off of it and to be able to learn from it and to
Yeah.
become, continually improve your operations. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Makes sense. Yeah. So, in the context of SNOP, Mike, of course, we are your technology partners. Could you talk about, you know, you were providing supply chain services to a number of brands, and you how all of this came together in terms of your existing ways of doing things, opposed to partnering with us
Yeah.
from AI native platform perspective. Could you talk about how you are using the platform and how you are serving your customers or intending to serve the customer for your own business and for your clients?
Yeah, you bet. So we've been developing a process for about 7 years now,
Mm-hmm.
8 years. That's pretty good process for companies that may not have a optimized advanced inventory planning system or different kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it essentially implements the elements of S&OP for a small business that may not have any kind of ERP.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we found out about your one pint solution
Mm-hmm.
that you were launching, it felt like a good opportunity for us to put our heads together and create something using the kind of the model that we've built, but automating it,
Mm-hmm.
eliminating some of the manual errors and challenges that come with managing large data sets and spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's been a really good process. It's we've learned a lot about our internal workings and where we can make things better. And I think we're
Mm-hmm.
shedding some additional supply chain expertise your way to help you have a better product for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's been really good. It's been a great experience, and I think what we'll end up with at the end of the day, once it's completely refined, is
Mm-hmm.
a system or process that delivers a consistent deliverable outcome
Mm-hmm.
and eliminates a lot of errors and issues along the way. It'll provide people with the ability to establish an initial forecast, to look at projected procurement needs through the time frames and their lead times of their products, depending on how many suppliers, how many SKUs they have, aggregate what they have as far as cash flow requirements. I think cash flow is
Mm-hmm.
really the cornerstone area that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people miss, which is if I'm scaling and if
Mm-hmm.
I'm projecting a certain amount of scale, how much is that going to cost me in cash?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I keep up with both the marketing and advertising costs, but also the
Mm-hmm.
product POs that come along with it? And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's uh that's what we've got. And then of course, once you have a plan, you can modify the
Yeah.
plan according to what you're able to do and bring everyone together. But that's what the tool, I think, really allows for. It highlights where we have shortages and where we may need to expedite it, highlight or change our marketing, or sales efforts if we're going to be stocked out for too long.
Yeah.
It highlights where we may have excess stock built up, where we have inventory that could be converted to cash more
Mm-hmm.
quickly through promotions or sales or other means,
Mm-hmm.
and it does it in a very visible way that's easy to understand. I think that's
Yeah, no, good to hear. Good to hear. You talked about cash flow, and we work with small brands, big brands, growing brands, emerging brands. Um, Cash flow is such an important topic. Inventory is all cash flow, and it can have huge impact on working capital requirements for the business. Could you talk about for the brands that you work for, where things go wrong in terms of cash flow management, or why cash flow, somebody who has fast growing D2C brand right now. Okay, could you talk about where things go wrong, or what have you seen things working, or why cash flow is very important? Yeah.
well, yeah, I think it's important because I think most financial resources, whether it's an onboard accountant or financier, most everybody knows their margins and their costs, and they measure what their ad cost and the conversion rates are, and cost
Hmm.
per acquisition and average order. They have all the numbers,
Yeah.
but the timing of where you need to be to place an order to a supplier's lead time to have it deliver on time, if that's coming domestically via ground or air, or whether it's coming internationally on a boat,
Hmm.
all of these replenishment time frames are varied. And
Hmm.
so understanding when you have to trigger POs, when you have to pay for them, what the terms are with those suppliers, and what that cash out looks like to support a scaling plan is
Hmm.
oftentimes different than whether or not at the end of the day it's all been profitable or not. And so
Right.
that's the biggest gap that I see people get into is we can
Hmm.
sell it, we can go,
Hmm.
but the front loading of the cash to scale is oftentimes significantly different than when you're collecting it on the back end and when you're
Hmm.
able to compensate for it. So the cash crunches come.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's familiar with those. A lot of people have
Sure.
experienced them, but
Hmm.
having the ability to plan for it and having the
Hmm.
ability to see it in advance
Hmm.
oftentimes can help understand where you need more funding, understand where you need to temper your
Hmm.
excitement as it relates
Hmm.
to how quickly you can scale,
Sure,
and
sure.
find a winning path essentially, right?
Right, right. And having that cross-functional visibility, cash flow can be a major driver in terms of how you communicate with your suppliers, your product team, your marketing and sales team, right? Versus completely being blindsided, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, yeah. Talking about, Mike, we talked about cash flow. I know we are AI powered platform and AI is flavor of the day. Who is not talking about AI? I'm curious, how are you using AI in your own work? How are you seeing brands using AI? Yeah.
So we use AI in a lot of different ways today. We've used AI to help automate and simplify our process of sending out freight quotes. We do a lot of international freight. We're an importer of record, and so we do a lot of freight shipments through multiple forwarders. That's probably another area that people might know is if
Hmm.
you're importing quite a bit and you're only using a single forwarder, you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. You need a
Hmm.
competitive environment
Sure.
uh, to make sure you're getting the best rates at all times, along with good
Hmm.
service, right? You want
Hmm.
good relationships with those forwarders as well, but it
Hmm.
has to be competitive environment. So we've used AI to automate the way in which we're developing and creating those freight quotes and distributing those freight quotes, and it's saved us quite a bit of time.
Hmm.
We're using AI in some of our back end accounting reconciliation to help make sure and validate things that used to be done manually in a more automated fashion. And we're stretching out in some other ways. We're trying to see if there's a way we can use AI to connect with companies that could use our services and benefit from our services,
Hmm.
um, and help find those relationships that are going to help us in 2027, 2028, and beyond.
Hmm. Yeah, no, very cool. It seems like you're using AI not only on the backend side, but your go-to-market activities as well, which is exciting.
We are,
Um,
and we've used it for some macro forecasting data, pulled together
mhm,
some information that it would have took a team of 10 market research people 3 months to finish a project, and we can do it,
mm, mhm.
within a week or so of working back and forth through the Autobot.
Right.
Um, and then on the personal side, it seems to be kind of just replacing Google for about everything here.
I'm pretty sure you are looking at ChatGPT as your go-to versus going to Google, I guess.
I use the
Yeah,
Claude today
sure.
for most business stuff, and I use the Gemini for most personal stuff. But
I see.
um, I think they're all about the same, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think our focus has also been, how do we serve our customers better? How do we serve D2C brands better with AI that is, fast evolving into the product, so that we could potentially, have a situation wherein some of the, in double quotes, grunt work could be taken care by AI agents in the platform, and we really use humans for judgment,
Yeah,
for making decisions on exceptions, etc.
that's right. And that's what I think I'm really excited about Pinto and
Mm-hmm.
your product is,
Mm-hmm.
you really what you really want to do to manage any business effectively
Yeah.
is establish a system and a process that'll take care of 90% of everything, and you can
Mm.
manage by exception, right?
Right.
You can intervene in the exceptional things and let it go with good business processes and rules established. And I think that tool is going to really help with some advanced planning and optimization that
Mm-hmm.
historically has cost significant amounts of money as bolt-ons to SAP or bolt-on to Oracle or whatever these things are. I think
Mm-hmm.
your tool is going to be a much better solution at a great exchange of value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, makes sense, Mike. And that's our vision and our mission as well. So good to hear. How do you think you spoke about business performance? How do you, because all of these things, right? Whether if you do forecasting right, if you do supply planning right, if you are making sure that you have your good visibility on cash flow, how all of this tie together from business performance perspective? What have you seen companies do or not do as well, wherein business performance really sucks? What is going wrong? If you could give
Yeah.
maybe good examples and bad examples.
Yeah, I would say what when it's not working well,
Mm-hmm.
you see things like um, marketing and sales promoting items that you don't have enough to support and discounting them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you end up with cost per acquisition and marketing and advertising rates that you can't really fulfill, and customers canceling the orders, and so you're out the marketing spend and it was a discounted rate anyway and you don't have the product to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Your customer satisfaction is significantly
Yeah.
decreased. That would be direct to consumer e-com. If it's B2B, I would say
Mm-hmm.
it looks like you're selling into distribution centers that go to retailers, and you're not able to fill shelf space and you lose the shelf space to other brands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're not able to justify the distributors you're selling through, what quantities
Mm-hmm.
they're asking for,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and you're allowing them to dictate the success of your brand without any kind of cross checks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's resulting in the same thing. You're overstocked on some things. If it's a shelf life kind of a thing, maybe you're eating spoils.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but again, you're losing shelf space in other areas because you're not keeping up with the actual demand.
Mm-hmm.
What does good look like?
Mm-hmm.
Good looks like a any kind of healthy organism. It's
Mm-hmm.
balanced. It's continually operating. It's learning from itself with feedback loops, um, and everything. There aren't huge surprises that come up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Issues that arise are identified. They're addressed, and that solution's put into the plan, and you continue to work it. And so,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I guess to sum all that up, one looks like chaos, and the other probably looks a
Mm-hmm.
lot more like a good operation. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, good analogy with balanced organism.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly
Right.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the operations are, they are all moving parts, but how do you bring it together? And all the things have ripple effect, or they're all connected with each other in terms of how you capture the upstream demand from the consumer to how do you actually fulfill the demand. They go hand in hand in that sense. So
I've
yeah.
seen this kind of twice on
Hmm.
huge
Hmm.
levels with bigger companies,
Yeah.
and I've seen it twice, and both times were during ERP implementations.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what should happen during an ERP implementation
Yeah.
is everyone should have outlined what their processes are, current state, what they need to get to future state, what the outcomes are going to be,
Yeah.
and how the system needs to be used to deliver those outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yet, what I've seen happen
Yeah.
is it becomes this is how you used to place a PO. This are the steps you need to go to place the PO now. This is
Mm-hmm.
how you used to pay an invoice. This is the step you need to go through to pay the invoice now.
Mm-hmm.
And it tries to connect the dots, but it's really so much more than that. It is an organism, it's a process,
Mm-hmm.
all tied together. And
Mm-hmm.
the effectiveness of any one of those parts is only as good as its weakest link, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
uh, and I think a lot of that supply chain. You know, you have accounting and you have sales and marketing, you have other areas, but
Mm.
the
Mm-hmm.
back end processes of what moves through warehouses, freight, into
Mm-hmm.
purchasing, it connects a lot of dots for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I've seen is like, when businesses are growing, they focus so much on growth, marketing and sales and consumer experience. Sometimes the mistake brands do is supply chain is an afterthought,
That's right.
and that really hurts them in long run. How do you bring those two things together soon enough so that you don't have pains of growing the brand in that sense?
That's right. And that's really been
Hmm.
our
Hmm.
business model
Hmm.
has been
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
started running into fractional CFOs
Yeah.
back in late 2010 up through kind of 2015, and so I saw a gap in supply chain. We were 6 years ago, if you would have Googled fractional supply chain, we'd have been the first thing that came up, and there
Mm-hmm.
was not a whole lot else really
Sure.
people doing what we
Sure.
do. But
Mm-hmm.
if we can help people when they're just growing, and we can get the right systems and processes in place when they're small,
Mm-hmm.
and we get them to work within the framework of that as they grow,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to have a lot more success and a lot less pain and learning curves.
Yeah.
And as they're ready to hire on their own staff and build their own teams out, we can train
Mm-hmm.
them on what we've implemented and how it works, and be
Mm-hmm.
available as a consultant from that point forward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's kind of the model that we're in. Now, we still get
Sure.
calls from bigger companies and
Mm-hmm.
other folks that are in trouble, or maybe they
Yeah.
have a gap in their current management or leadership, and they're trying to fill it and they need some help in between. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier to do it right closer to the front
Mm-hmm.
end of that journey than to try and change
Right.
it after that machine's
Right.
been built. Yeah.
Right. Right. Rework is always painful and cost prohibitive sometimes. So sooner you solve for some of these things, better it is in that sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is excellent, Mike. Thank you for spending some time talking about all things supply chain. It has been pleasure, to collaborate with you over the last few months. I'm really excited to see, what we could do with our AI platform. How could we make the operations for a number of brands, effective, efficient? Because if we can shave off, cost items for companies, shave off some working capital, then it's a win-win, and that really drives us as well. So thank you for all of your collaborations over the last few months, and thank you for taking time for this podcast.
Thank you for the invite. I value your partnership and your friendship, and I'm excited to see what happens with Pinto as we move forward.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good
Thank
one. Thank you.